Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I have another book tag for you. It is the book tag that pretty much everyone is doing at this time of the year. It's the mid-year book tag, the mid-year Freakout book tag. When I first started going through the answers to these, I was like, I've only got like 3 or 4 books. Have I read anything this year? Yeah, I've actually had a really good reading year. Just before we get into the questions, I've read a little over 30 books so far, which means I'm back to sort of like my usual standard 50 to 60 books a year. 2023 was not a great reading year. It was horrible. It was basically the year of the reading slump. So this has been really, really nice. And when I say I've read 30 something books, I think it's like 31, 32. I've also DNF'd about 8, which that'll be a whole other video at the end of the year. And yeah, I feel like I've got my reading mojo back. I had a quick glance on Storygraph in my stats. My average rating this year is something like 4.3. Mostly because I'm DNFing books, so if I'm really not vibing, really not feeling a book, I'm not going to power through it, give it a low rating. I'm only continuing on with the books I'm really enjoying, and that's really nice. So yeah, without much further rambles, as I'm looking down, I have got all my answers written down, because, you know, why not? Try to semi-prepare for this. But let's just get on to it. There are 15 questions, 16, there are 15 original questions from at least the version that I found, but I've added 1 in, just because it's relevant to my year so far. And yeah, I can't remember who made this tag. I don't know who the original author of this tag is. Look for other mid-year Freakout book tags. Maybe someone will have them like tagged. And as usual, I'm probably not going to tag anyone, especially right now, because I'll just be filming and straight uploading. Yeah, still haven't replaced my laptop. It's just not worth it right now. But yeah, anyway, let's do this. So, the best book that you have read so far in 2024. Excuse me. And yeah, believe it or not, 2024 started off strong. Like, it was strong. And I think this was the second book I read in the year. And nothing has quite topped it yet. However, this book literally ticks all of my boxes, and anyone who knows me knows that, yeah, this is always going to be the book to beat. It is a romance. It is a rivals to lovers. There is bickering. There is forced proximity. And it's a figure skating romance. Also, there is just some of the best representation of support, I think. You know, it has awkward families. It has toxic family issues. But also, we've got 2 main characters who are flawed, they are dealing with stuff, and neither of them try to fix the other. This is very much a romance where it's not, I can fix you, it's not, I love you despite your flaws, it's, you are who you are, and you're the person I love, and that's it. I don't need to fix you, because I don't think you need fixed. If you want to work on stuff for you, I fully support that. But you don't need to change, and I don't want you to change. I'm like, yes! Fully support this. This is, of course, From Lukov with Love by Maria Zapata. I have read 1 more by her since. I think it was Love Aaron. Still absolutely adored that one. Obviously not as good as From Lukov because, you know, as soon as you had figure skating into it, I was a sucker. But yeah, Queen of the Slow Burn, by the way, like, this is not a we fall into bed from the get-go. This is a proper slow burn. From Love Aaron was the same. So yeah, highly recommend. Also, I have the Super Pretty edition. This is one of the few Fairy Loot books that I have special ordered. Because look at the sprayed edges, everything is so pretty. It's got the artwork inside. Just love it. But yeah, whilst I was still getting Fairy Loot, this was one of the few sort of like additional books I ordered, and 100% worth it. 100% worth it. Right, the next one is the best sequel of 2020 so far. Although I have not read them as a series, it still counts. They're still linked. Yeah, I've read a few sequels so far this year, but yeah. But that is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I am very much in my romance era. I discovered Abby Jimenez this year and have absolutely fallen in love with her writing. Her characters just, they're just perfect. They're just perfect. Like, this had so many feelings. Also, some of the themes in this, especially around family and how you deal with that, it hit home so hard. I was relating to a lot of this. It was very much one where I was like, this is actually making it quite a hard read, but she's captured it so brilliantly. Yeah, absolutely loved this so much. It came very close to being From the Gulf with Love. Like, let's put it that way. This is probably my second favorite read of the year. But it happened to be a sequel, and it's not quite. It doesn't have figure skating in it. You know, your girl's obsessed. It's fine. The next one is a new release you haven't read yet, but want to. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. With the exception of the novellas and the YA Check and Mate, I've read everything else she's published. There's only one reason I think I have not picked this up yet. It only recently arrived. It's a very new release. But also I was kind of saving it. I'm going to the Lake District in a couple of weeks, and my friend and I have hired a yurt, and we are going to be basically spending a week just chilling out, going for walks in the morning, afternoons spent just sort of like relaxing by the water, because our yurt is lakeside on Lake Windermere. And yeah, this is one of the books I want to take because I often end up reading an Ali Hazelwood on holiday, so it just feels right. But I fully anticipate absolutely loving that book. Biggest disappointment. This was a hard one because, again, I've been DNFing a lot. But there's nothing that I was like, I'm actually quite, almost like, not quite heartbroken, but, you know, there's nothing I was like, I had high hopes for you. So I've settled on The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson because it was one of, I think it's the first Omegaverse stories I've read that's been traditionally published, has made it into the mainstream. And it's I think they're werewolves. They're definitely shifters of some form. So I was like, yeah, this could be quite good. And my god, it was so boring. The Omegaverse was basically being used as a plot device rather than world building, and characters were supposed to be really smart, really intelligent, and they were making really stupid decisions. Apparently, you know, we've known about alphas and omegas for like hundreds of years, but you know, we still don't know what that means, and you know, we still don't know what happens to alphas or what happens to omegas or anything. It's like like these secondary genders have been around for who knows, and we've just not bothered to study them. Even if they're not super common, it's like you should have more knowledge about this, especially you two, because you're doctors. But yeah, so that was a bit of a letdown. So I don't know. I think some people have been enjoying it. I think if you've never read anything Omegaverse, either in traditional fiction or in fan fiction, or if you're very new to shifter romance, it could be a good starting point. But if you have read it before, just stick to your usual stuff, guys, because this book is not for you. Anyway, the biggest surprise. This is another Abby Jimenez. I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have a copy to hold up to you, but that is Worst Wingman Ever. This was written as part of Kindle, or Amazon have done like an anthology of meet cutes, I can't remember exactly what the series is called. It's like Improbable Meet Cutes or something like that. So it's a whole bunch of different authors have written short stories for. So yeah, this is a short story. It was the first Abby Jimenez that I picked up, and I actually listened to it driving up the A9 after work one day, and for about the 2 hours that it was playing, I was captivated. I was riveted. It is absolutely wonderful. The emotion she got across, the how distinct she made her characters, just the plot that she dealt with, that she got all of that into 2 hours worth of audio. I think it's only something like, I don't know, it's like 40, 50 pages in total. You managed to get all of that. Pacing was perfect. The characters were fully fleshed out. I was like, it just absolutely blew me away, and it's what made me pick up more Abby Jimenez as a result. So yeah, that was absolutely my biggest surprise. I basically, because they're free with Amazon Primes, I put it on as I don't know what else I want to read or listen to right now. I was between books. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I wasn't expecting much from it, and yeah, like she hit it out of the park. She did so well on that one. So yeah, it will come with absolutely no surprise then that question number 7, my new favourite author, is going to be Abby Jimenez, because I've read 3 books, including Worst Wingman Ever, and I've given all 3 of them 5 stars. As well as Just for the Summer, I also read Yours Truly, which again, my heart melted so much. The letter passing between the two was just perfect. I related a lot to the male main character. The extreme introversy, the social anxiety. I was like, I get it. And it was just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Next up, new favourite character. For this one, I've literally written, can't choose, blame Project Hail Mary. Yeah, I re-listened to Project Hail Mary this year for, I think, the 4th time. It's very much an annual thing now, and Rocky is my favourite character. No other character compares. I read some really excellent... Actually, I'm looking at a book going, I mean, kinda. You know what, yeah, if I had to pick one, which I've literally just come up with, I say just come up with, but yeah, I wasn't going to give you a character because nothing compares to Rocky. But with the exception of Rocky, if I had to pick one, it's going to be Marcellus from Remarkably Bright Creatures. Marcellus is an octopus. He has POV chapters. He's just kind of... I don't know how to describe Marcellus. He's very smart. He doesn't fully understand humans. He thinks they're a little bit stupid, but he's kind of attached to 1 or 2 of them. It's like, you know what? Marcellus, you're an absolute sweetheart. But you don't want to be. If he was an old man, he'd be the curmudgeonly old man who has a secret heart of gold. Except he's an octopus. I am currently knitting Marcellus. So, yeah, I guess, like, if I'm actually knitting the character, he definitely has to be my favourite character. Like, my favourite new character this year. But yeah, on that note, I'm going to continue holding this up because question 10 is a book that made you cry. This one was beautiful. It was wonderful. This is basically about this old woman, Tova. Yep. She works in an aquarium. She has things in her past. Her son went missing, and you know, she's reaching retirement. This is kind of a retirement job. She's having to question, is moving into supported or assisted living an option I need to take? Can I continue working? We have... Oh, I can't remember his name. But well, Marcellus has his point of views, and you're seeing a lot of the story and piecing together a lot of like the past via Marcellus. And then there's another character whose name I have completely forgotten, but he is also recently arrived in the town, and he is searching for his father, who abandoned him essentially when he was... Now, before he was even born. And it is just a story of friendship and people finding each other, and it's absolutely wonderful. I don't tab books very often, and whilst I haven't tabbed huge amount, I did still end up tabbing this one, and I feel on a reread I would end up going through more, because just every so often a paragraph or sentiment would just sit with you and you'd just be like, that was beautiful. Loved it. So yeah, Remarkable Dead Creatures. If you've not read it, I mean, I guess like everything else on this series, in this video, but yeah, definitely recommend Remarkably Rare Creatures. At one point, I think I've still got 2 more to read, but at one point I will be doing a recommendation video about octopus books, and spoiler alert, this is on it. Right, next up is a book that made you happy. I don't have a book to hold up because I don't have it yet. I was really lucky that my library holder came in like super early. I think I was the first person, or one of the first people to get it. I was the first person to have my specific copy. I'm fairly certain the library had a few copies bought in, but that is Funny Story by Emily Henry. I'm trying to decide if it's like my new favorite Emily Henry. I think it's not quite Book Lovers, but it's up there. It's up there with Book Lovers and Beach Read. And it was just... A Happy Place was okay. It was like, I still enjoyed it, but for me it was like, it's not quite peak Emily Henry. This one was back to like, this is her good, this is her peak writing. Excuse me. Funny Story is about our 2 main characters. I can't remember either of their names off the top of my head, but basically our female main character has just been dumped by her fiance, who has left her for his childhood best friend. His childhood best friend at the same time happened to dump her boyfriend. They left their partners for each other. So our female main character goes to live with the other woman's ex-boyfriend, because, you know, she needs somewhere to live now. She's kind of getting kicked out of her house. And it is these 2 characters overcoming the heartbreak and the upheaval of everything and getting to know each other and just being utterly wonderful people. And it is just, you end the book smiling. It was just so lovely. Yeah. Like I say, if you have enjoyed any of Emily Henry's works, it's up there with Beach Read and Book Lovers. It was just so good. I also really liked that our main character was a librarian. So we're definitely continuing on the theme of her main characters having something to do with books in one form or another. And just the representation of what a librarian does. I think that was... I've never been a librarian, so I can't say for certain, but I think it was done really well. Okay, so after that, the question that I've added in, and that is your best reread of the year. I don't reread a huge amount, but I feel like I've done enough this year to warrant. It would have been cheating if I said Project Hail Mary, because that's a reread I do every year. But I'm going to be honest. It wasn't Project Hail Mary. I know, shocker. Again, it was one of the first books I read this year. And, like I say, 2024 started strong. I'm not saying it's gone downhill, but like I peaked in January. I am still going pretty damn strong, but yeah, like... But anyway, my best reread was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I have this really pretty wonderful edition that I got in New York last year. But this is about our main character, Kath, who is a twin. Her and her twin Ren, Kath Ren. Her mum only had one name in mind. They're both off to uni. They're now in first year, and it's just a story of them both, mostly Kath, sort of like having to adapt to that, finding out who they are, their own identities, dealing with so much. Kath is as introverted as they get. Rather than going out and socialising and attending class and whatever, she'd rather just be sitting inside writing and reading fanfiction. And I get that. And that was me. I think my favourite the thing that really sticks with me about this book is Kath was me. Is me. But Kath in this book was 17-year-old Amy. Straight into uni, going, I don't want to be here. This is terrifying. Can I just go and like hide in my corner and just not face the world? Like this is me. And if not for the fact that, you know, Kath is like, yay, romance, we'll be basically the same person. So it's really nice and really lovely reading a book where you truly see yourself in it and you can relate so strongly to it. She even gets sort of like almost like forcibly adopted by her roommate, who's an extrovert, and it's like, I've been adopted by extroverts several times, where it's like, you know what, it's like, I'm going to befriend you because you need friends. And as annoying as it is, sometimes it's kind of true. But yeah, absolutely adore and love Fangirl. Always will. It's one of those books I will reread it time and time again. Like, it will never, for me at least, it will never get old. And that's it. The next question is, what is your favourite adaptation you've seen this year? I haven't watched a lot. So I kind of really struggled with this one. And then a lot of my year, especially the last couple of months, I've been watching Bones for the first time. So that's kind of taken up a lot of my watching. And out with that, I watch a lot of K-drama. And I know a lot of those are based on like web novels and books and things. So it's like, but they're generally source material that I'm probably never going to get around to reading because, you know, don't read or speak Korean. But whilst during an episode of Bones, I actually paid attention to the credits for once and realised it's based, at least initially, it was based on a book. So Bones is my favourite adaptation this year. That was just a really nice coincidence. Next up is favourite video you've made this year. That is a super easy one. I'm really proud of the Hobbit vlog that I made, where I lived my best Hobbit life and I ate as if I were a Hobbit. So I think I started the day with breakfast. A few hours later I had second breakfast. And then I had lunch and I had afternoon tea. And yeah, and all I did that day was eat and read and make food. Rinse and repeat. It was just such a lovely, lovely day. I lived my best life that day. I ate and I read and it was brilliant and it was great. And I took you guys along for it. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how that one turned out, and I had so much fun making it. Expect to repeat at some point if I ever go back into vlogging, if I ever upgrade my tech, specifically my computer. Yeah, I think I will celebrate by doing another Hobbit vlog because it was just perfect. And I absolutely recommend, if anyone wants to give it a try, do it. You will have so much fun. But pace yourself. I did struggle a bit towards the end because I was so full. I probably had a bit too much for breakfast. For one breakfast it was fine, it was almost small, but when you have like 2 or 3 of them, yeah, maybe started a bit strong, and then I overestimated, or rather overestimated how much food I was cooking for my supper. And yeah, didn't have enough for 2 portions, so just had one very, very big portion. That really scuppered me. And yeah, when it came to my dinner, I call it supper. But yeah, when it came to like that last meal, it was a struggle. Like, so yeah, pace yourself if you do try it. That's what I learned. Moderate your meals. Next up is the most beautiful book you've bought this year. So I'm not including anything that I've gotten in a book box, which is the entire top shelf. It's really hard to point at things behind you. Excuse me. Because I don't choose those. I don't specifically set out to do them, and it just kind of feels like cheating because every book you get in a book box is like a Fairy Loot or a Lumicrate. I no longer have Fairy Loot, but I still have a Lumicrate. You're kind of guaranteed they're going to be really pretty books. So it definitely feels like cheating. But when I did, and yeah, it's interesting, I've not been buying as much books this year, which I'm quite happy and proud of, because I have to read all of that, plus the 2 shelves below that, and they're all doubled up. Like, my TBR is a little out of control right now. But yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm not buying as many books. So, yeah. One night did defy, however, because I had vouchers. This was the Waterstones voucher that my friend Laura got me for my birthday. And I bought The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is a book I had been meaning to sort of like pick up because it keeps getting recommended. It does sound like it's absolutely wonderful, and I've not been reading a huge amount of epic fantasy, but I'm like, I kind of want on the back burner for when I do have that notion. And this is the UK cover, I guess, that is currently available in Waterstones, and it is like the prettiest version of this book I've seen. And I think as far as the epic fantasy that's out right now, like, these hands down have the prettiest covers. It's just, I mean, look at it. You know, it's pretty epic. And just wonderful. And yeah. And then the last one is books you need to read by the end of the year, and I'm going to say none. Because I don't do that. You know, if you've been with my channel for any length of time, you've probably picked up, I don't do TBRs. I don't do, like, I'll give myself reading challenges, but it's not I must read this specific book. The closest I have to that are whatever book club picks occur for the rest of the year. Next month, for the Chloe Frizzle's book club, for Chloe Frizzle's book club, it's next month is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. So I've got that lined up on my Kindle, so I need to read that in July. And the next library one is The Flower Plantation. I can't remember the author's name, which, bless her, our librarian who picks the books, she's like, I really wanted to try and get like a mix, but they've all been just really thoughtful books so far. So our first one was supposed to be like a really light-hearted one, but it didn't come in time, so it got replaced. Yeah, our next one is Love in the Face of Genocide. We're like, yep, super light-hearted. But yeah, those are kind of the closest I have to any books that I have to read by the end of the year, because if I set even the vaguest of TBRs with even the vaguest hint of a deadline, I'm not going to read anything on it. I think it was 2022, or like end of 2021, I set myself, it was like 12 books to read in the following year. I didn't read a single one of them. No, that's a lie. I read one and I DNF'd it. I still haven't read the majority of the books on that list. So, yeah. Anti-TBR in this household. But yeah, anyway, that is it. We're approaching the half an hour mark, so that is enough of me rambling on it, you guys. Yeah, I am aware that the last few videos I put out are tags. They're nice, easy sit-down videos. I really enjoy tags. I'm so happy that they're making a comeback. I know a few sort of like bigger YouTubers were kind of advocating for the comeback of the tag, and I am really pleased that they're taking off again, because they make me happy, and I really enjoy doing tags. They were one of the things that made me really want to start a YouTube channel in the first place. Yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna go, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.